Okay, so now we're going to take a look at some few other concepts of economies of scale and diseconomies of scale, and then some others about strategy as well. Okay, and they're very important concepts to quality. To quality, no, quality is chapter 3. We're in chapter 4. To capacity, right? So this is a very simple concept called economies of scale. So basically, let's say that you have a building that have a capacity of 1,200 students, and you have when you rent a building, you have a fixed cost, right? You have all these rooms that are available and have a capacity for 1,200 students, right? So what happened when you have more and more classes? So the building is the big cost, right? The instructors are a lot less a lower cost than the building. So after you are putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 100, 200 students, what you're doing is actually diluting that fixed cost into a larger number of students. So you're able to create what we call the economies of scale. When you increase the number of students, so that's this axis here, you're increasing the number of students, you're decreasing the average unit cost. Okay, so if I have that same building with 600 students, the cost is here. If I have the same building with 1,000 students, the cost per student will be lower because I can use the same instructor for a class of 60 students. So I can use the same building for more students. So the cost per student is going to be reduced. But imagine that if I have more than my capacity, if I have more than 1,200 students, what am I going to do? Well, I'll have to find a way to put this extra people somewhere. So I might do overtime and work at night. I might rent another place. And when you do that, your cost per student actually could increase because what you're doing is you're taking actions that will increase the cost more uh, than the one that you have now per student, right? Still increasing your revenue, and it might make sense, but you're increasing the cost per student by this additional cost, right? So these two concepts are called economies of scale and diseconomies of scale. So when I'm increasing volume and I'm decreasing cost, that's called economies of scale. When I'm increasing volume and I'm increasing cost, that's called diseconomies of scale. And that's basically what this chart is showing. Okay, does that make sense? Hope so. If not, please ask questions during our in-class time or online over a Blackboard during our class. So here we have the arrow economies of scale, right? And increasing utilization. This economies of scale when I'm in this example renting out a building.